Welcome to the Grow Your Clinic podcast. My name is Ben Lynch. Today we have a special guest, Sarena Jones. Sarena is a clinical occupational therapist, director at Allied Health Support Services, and founder of the Australian Allied Health Awards. And that's actually where I first met Sarena and her business partner, Chris McCarroll, who we've had on this podcast before, was at the Allied Health Inaugural Awards, celebrating health professionals around Australia for the impact that they are making on their local communities and within their own profession. I was asked to MC the inaugural event, and I was blown away by the operation that they had for their very first event. There was something like 160 people from around the country in the room for their first event. We're now preparing for the second Allied Health Awards, and there's a lot of buzz in the community. And I wanted to get Sarena on board because after I met her, I was inspired and really engaged by her experience as a professional and as a business person as well. In this episode, we dived into what were some of the catalysts for her starting a business. I think we all resonate with that moment where you're contemplating doing something on your own, and then there's something in your life, something professionally that just acts as a catalyst. And for Sarena, that was kids. So we dived into how she juggles being a parent, being a mother, and also running a business as well as being a professional. She's an incredible human and dives into some of the tangibles as to how she's been able to make it all work. We also explored her give it a crack mentality and how that served her really well just to make momentum happen in business and see where it goes by exploring her creative energy. I think something that we all have, this desire to express a creative freedom in business by doing something on your own and in your own way. So take note, I think there's something in this episode for everyone. We dive into being a parent, being a business owner, being an allied health professional, juggling the segregation of public, community, and private health, and how we're building this community together to celebrate the impact that we make on our communities. Take lots of notes and enjoy this episode.
This is the Grow My Clinic podcast by Clinic Mastery, where we help you deliver amazing client experiences to grow your clinic.
Sarena, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited for this because we first met at the Allied Health Awards and the inaugural event in 2018, and formed a good relationship. I'm excited to talk about the 2019 version, just to get listeners familiar with who you are. Just got a couple of questions to connect. They're rapid fire questions that we're going to ask. 10 seconds per question. Number one, who inspires you?
Oh, that's so tough. Everybody. Everybody from my 5-year-old and 6-year-old to my great-grandmother.
Awesome. It's great that you can be able to pick that up from everyone who you come in contact with, be inspired by everyone. What are you reading right now?
Oh, well, I'm going to answer that with what I wish I was reading. A new release that I've got planned for a holiday after the gala. But what I'm reading right now is nothing because I don't have time.
You're flat out preparing for the gala.
Yes.
Action stations. What about when you're growing up, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be a getaway host.
Really? Katrina Roundtree inspired by? Yeah.
Yes. I'm showing my age probably, but that wasn't a thing. That's right.
Maybe still part of your horizon.
That's right.
And what's a motto that you live by in business or in life? What's something that guides you?
This too will pass. Everything runs in cycles, good, bad, ugly, or otherwise.
Wow. Awesome. It's always good to have the inspirational, proactive ones, but that one definitely, I can imagine, helps when the going gets tough.
Yeah, that's right. But also in good times, make the most of it and enjoy it while it's lasting.
Cool. Well, thanks. Great to get to know you. And let's dive a little bit deeper into really your origin story of how you've ended up here running Allied Health Support Services, the awards as well. Where did it all begin for you, especially in the health sector?
Well, I'm an occupational therapist, and
Cool.
I knew I wanted to be an OT from very early on. I have quite early memories in even at the end of primary school and the start of high school of telling people what an OT does.
Really?
Yeah, I was one of those weirdos.
Wow.
My mum was a nurse, and I just knew I didn't want to do nursing. Ew.
Yeah.
And yeah, I knew I wanted to help people do what was important to them. So
Wow.
that's my origin story in a nutshell. And I worked and travelled and did a lot of work across the UK and various places in Australia. And then I had a couple of babies.
Cool.
And like a lot of women that have babies in the health sector in particular, things change. The way you approach things changes, your time changes, how you do things changes. And I was heading back from maternity leave, and I just thought it should be easier than this. There's not the support or the professional development or the access to things and the networks that should be there. They weren't. So I waited, stupidly, until I went back to work to launch Allied Health Support Services.
Wow. So I'm really interested to dive into this. We have a number of mothers in the community,
Yeah.
all who have gone through that transition, some who are about to go through that transition for the first time. What were some of the things that you found helped? Because a lot changed. What did you find really helped make that transition back in?
I think understanding, well, again, that this too shall pass. I think that it's not necessarily a transition. It's just another step in the journey and the adventure. And, it's just part of the life journey that you have if you choose to have children. I think it's not something that you can just sort of wake up one day and think, all right, I've got the answers. This is the magic formula. And this is how I will run my life balance. It doesn't work that way. Every day is different, and some days work better than others.
Yeah, and you've got how many kids now?
Two children. Yep,
Wonderful.
Just turned 5 and 6, so quite close together and quite little still.
Yeah, absolutely. Then during that process, when you said a lot of things changed, what were some of those things for you that you felt had changed from before having kids?
Yeah, I think your life perspective changes, and any mothers out there, even from right back from when you first realise you're pregnant, I think mentally things change. You have a different purpose, you have a different approach and a different perspective. Yeah, and you get really amazing at time management and resource management and juggling and multitasking, and you just do the best you can do day to day.
It's definitely an incredible joy and also challenge at times.
Yes, you would know.
Yeah, I do. I played Mr. Mum, if you will, or stay-at-home dad in the first 6 months of our firstborn's life. But I'm interested from your perspective, like what was that big perspective, or maybe there were a few that changed for you? You said that kids changed that for you. What was it that happened for you?
For me, I wanted to have more creativity. I wanted to build something, I don't like using the word legacy, but that's effectively what it is. I wanted to, that health professional approach really kind of expands, or it did for me, and I wanted to make life easier for people and, make changes in the world on a bigger scale.
And do you think that was through watching your kids be creative and go about playing, or was it just that you've
No.
now thought about generations?
I just got bored, and I just
Wow.
wanted to change it up and use my skills in a different way and challenge myself in a different way, I think.
Yeah. And you've stayed in the health space.
Yeah.
But that must have been a big thing to go from an OT career,
Yeah.
like you're practicing as an OT.
I still am.
Oh, fantastic. And then you pivoted like into business.
Yeah, really crazy. And so many people, particularly, in your community and mine, make that choice. And it's an interesting choice to make. Certainly, when I went through university, there was zero education around business.
Yeah.
And even now, I had a conversation with a program lead at one of the universities just this week, and it's even now is really, really small amounts of business acumen and even just the nuts and bolts of business. It's not there, and actually some universities are actively discouraging entrepreneurship, and I just think that's crazy.
Wow.
Scary.
Absolutely. I think we have such a wonderful asset and ability as health professionals to care, and that can extend into caring service in business and being able to do it our own unique way. So was there a role model or a mentor that you had who might have helped you during that period and transitioning into business? Because like you said, you kind of have a bit of an idea, but not fully. And
no, I've been flying by the seat of my pants for a few years now. I guess I have more mentors now than I did at the start. I just one of my girlfriends is a business coach, and we hung out for right at the start a couple of times, and we talked a little bit about my ideas, and that's pretty much it. And she sort of just said, you've got a bit of a gut for it. If you want to do XYZ, well, why not just give it a go? And I think that's what it comes down to. Sometimes it's just guts and having a go.
And trusting that. It sounded like you had that kind of creative energy brewing inside of you that you wanted to explore, which I think is really cool you said it that way, because I certainly notice a lot of people going into business or transitioning from health into business. And they usually say, I wanted to do it my way, which for mine speaks to you have this kind of creative energy that you want to explore of doing things differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And just doing something different too. Cool. I think, even working and traveling around and working within different health services, working publicly and working privately, I've kind of tried quite a lot of things. And I think a lot of allied health professionals in particular do really move around a lot, from a sector perspective, but also from a clinical setting perspective.
Yes.
So sometimes, it's not uncommon for business to be the next step, I guess.
Absolutely. I think people are looking for that growth, that evolution personally and professionally, which is really cool. To just pick up again on the kids coming along, making a transition, being a superwoman, super mom, of managing everything. How do you go about that? Like, because I know we've got a couple of people in the community who are about to have their first child, and they are the breadwinner. They are the main business person as well.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that helped you navigate that evolution into business while managing kids and, being a mum for the first time as well?
I think regardless of whether you're a business owner, I think parents, both mothers and fathers, really it takes a village, and you need to, like in life and like in parenthood and like in business, you need to accept help. And that's just the way that life is these days. I think it's changed a lot over the years, and you need to accept help, and you need to learn to say no and prioritize.
Yeah.
And know that some days you're going to kill it and some days you're not going to kill it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's so true. I love painting. The reality there is sometimes I think we all get into that mindset of thinking there's this sustained and even growing work ethic and implementation, but there can be days where are better than others, especially when you got kids who are a little bit unpredictable.
That's right. And for me, it was figuring out how I liked to work and how my brain and my body liked to work and what I needed to be able to do that. And I'm telling you right now, you can't work at home when there's children at home. So it's very tricky to have phone meetings, etc., when there's kids in the background. I've had some very awkward conversations that I've had to, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you back. I've got to wipe the 4-year-old's bottom.
And you hear a lot of stories. We've got clinic owners in the community who said, I remember having my 6-week-old on my lap and I was taking payments at the front desk.
That's right. Yeah.
Those times, like you said, you have to find a way to get through it and make it happen. It's interesting there, just the point you made about that self-awareness of when I work best or when I like to work, because I feel like some people as well, maybe they feel guilty or have this expectation of, okay, well, I've got to work between these times or be productive a certain way. What you're saying is you really found what suited you and suited, the change of lifestyle with kids around. And what did that end up looking like, as predictable as it could have been with kids?
Yeah. Well, it changes. It still changes week to week often. And I think, I really personally struggled with that. And I think a lot of allied health professionals do, we're often a similar sort of personality set, and we have a lot of similarities across health professionals. And I think a lot of that, we're not real good when things are out of our control. So, there's a really high percentage of parents that are health professionals that suffer from postnatal depression and other mental health concerns. So I think it's really important to remember that it's an evolutionary process and that it changes week to week, and that's okay. But for me, I feel really like I'm missing out if the sun is shining and my kids are out there and they're at the beach or what have you. I want to be there with them. So I do that in the daylight hours, and then I will work early in the morning or I'll work late at night, and that sort of changes depending.
I love that you're prioritizing family time and being able to spend time with the kids. Often when we speak to people, they say, if I had more time and or money, I would spend it with family. I would do the fun things with the kids.
And that's what people say right at the end of their life. They all say the same thing. You need to remember what's important.
That's awesome takeaway. I love the reality of that painted picture, which is that you have to be flexible, that there's not really going to be a set structure that will sustain itself, especially when you've got kids around. I know for sure. Absolutely. So you get into business, you start exploring this creative side, and what you end up with is the allied health support services. Tell us more about that. How did that come about and what is it at the moment?
Again, it's an evolutionary process, and I think that's what I'm learning is, business, you need to pivot all the time. You need to adapt all the time. And if you're not, you're dead in the water. So Allied Health Support Services started, as I say, when I was on the way back from maternity leave, and I just wanted... I created something that I needed at that time. So it is an online platform for allied health professionals to connect and gain information and professional development. And I've got lots of service development happening across the platform as we speak. So, it's something that constantly changes in response to feedback from users, from my allied health colleagues.
Yeah, that's a great way to build it, isn't it? Listen to what the people want there and guide it, and also offer your own challenges and problems. And what a wonderful thing, because I often hear, and what you're doing is connecting a lot of the allied health profession. When they do get out, we always talk about sort of being in the community and working together. Sometimes a reality, though, that we're working in silos and we're in very isolated environments. So you've really set up a community.
Yeah. And that isolation really aggravates me. It shouldn't be like that. So
need time away from the kids, connect.
That's why. That's right. That's why I essentially why I created this platform. Often we're taught to work together in multi-D teams. That's where the research is. That's what we're trained to do, and yet often allied health professionals work in silos, as you say. That's certainly part of what I love about the Allied Health Support Services and also the Allied Health Awards is connecting allied health professionals together. I get contacted every week with, do you know somebody that can help me with this? Do you know somebody that works in this area? Do you know anybody that could help supervise me? I have a lot of networks around the country now, which is so exciting, and I love connecting people together.
That is sensational, and the awards as a great example of that happening in person as distinct from the online version, which is still massively valuable to be a part of. How did the awards evolve there? And tell us about that, because I will get to it, but I'm blown away by what happened in year one and excited about year two. How did that all come about?
Oh, Ben, thanks for your kind words. It's it's something I'm really proud of. Honestly, it was just an idea I had about 3 years ago. Cool. And it was sort of brewing away in my brain, and like anybody in business, if you can't stop thinking about it, if your brain is worrying about it overnight, when you're in the shower, when you're doing other things, then you have to go and give it a crack.
Love it.
So I did. And I was working with Chris McCarroll. We set up some other bits and pieces, virtual conferences together. And he said, can I do that with you? And I thought, okay, let's do it. So there we are. And so 2019, this is year two.
Yep.
And it's doubling. So last year we had a couple of hundred nominations. This year we've had 450 odd nominations.
Wow.
And it's just taking on a life of its own, and it's really exciting.
That is incredible. And at the actual gala last year, which is held in Brisbane, how many people did you end up having there?
We had 160 something, 165, something like that.
Yeah, phenomenal. I mean, I know how hard it is to bring 10 people together in a room in a live setting.
I know.
So to have 160 was
particularly allied health professionals.
Super impressed by it. And what I loved as well, like you said, is we're often in silos, operating in an isolated world, and often health professionals say, it's so great to be around peers and like-minded people. I think that's what you created and celebrated as well. Celebrated the impact that these health professionals are having in their respective communities. Because, as a podiatrist by trade, I know that, you get a patient in, and in my case, help them walk a little bit better or play around a golf or keep up with the grandkids. And, you get that little feeling of like, I did good.
Yeah.
What you're able to do with the awards is be able to celebrate the bigger impact those people are then having on their community by seeing 20, 50, 100 patients a week in their clinics, making a real difference to their local community. It's sensational. I'm interested in, when you design the awards, what was it that you were really looking to champion? What was the core thing you wanted to celebrate with the awards and the health professionals you'd be recognizing?
Well, I guess the objectives of the awards were one, to build an allied health community, to make sure that allied health professionals across the country can feel pride and recognition, because we don't get any recognition. There's not a lot of perks in allied health.
Yep.
Let's be honest. we all get that, that wonderful little "I helped someone today" feeling, and that's great. But it should be, we're doing amazing things. It should be more than that. So I wanted to champion that, the everyday clinician, and also the everyday non-clinician. That they're doing non-clinical work.
Yeah.
I wanted there to be a category that every allied health professional in the country could apply for, that was eligible to apply for, whether they were working clinically or not clinically. I wanted allied health professionals to also build a network together to promote innovation and collaboration. So if somebody in Perth is working on this project, then I want to be able to connect them with somebody in Brisbane that's working on a similar project. So therefore we can create a bigger impact and be more efficient and effective in the way we go about things, therefore benefiting each other, but also the healthcare landscape for our patients. I wanted to really close the gap and break down the barriers between public and private and not-for-profit. And
awesome.
Lots of very noble objectives.
Yeah. And I think what you did in the inaugural event was nail it, because you're right. A lot of the private sector don't necessarily engage much with the public sector or community health, etc.
Exactly.
So to bring them all under one roof and start to, collaborate and network was really cool. So someone listening into this, they're an allied health professional, this is the first time they've heard about the awards and piqued their interest. What's the process of the awards? Obviously, I think nominations for this year have closed and judging is well underway, if not completed.
Yep.
What is the process, and what are some of the criteria that you are, judging a health professional and or clinic on that they could perhaps think about in the coming year? And I might also say that my perspective on awards is that, number one, it's amazing to get that recognition in a different light amongst your peers. But also, I actually find the award application process a really good one to actually audit how you're going in clinic, in business and professionally, to actually go, okay, well, if this is a standard of perhaps some of the better performing clinics or clinic owners out there, that I could actually run myself through it and see some opportunity areas to work on in the coming months or years. So I find there's gold in just going through that process as well.
Yes.
So just to circle back there, what is the process that someone might go through to apply and ultimately win an award?
Yeah, sure. So there is 5 selection criteria, and those are, number 1, contribution and promotion of the profession. Number 2 is collaboration within allied health community. Number 3 is the impact and innovation over the last 12 months. We've also got outstanding leadership and integrity. And we've got, last but not least, outstanding client-centred, evidence-based service delivery. And so whether that is with patients or with other colleagues or health professionals or whatever setting you're working in, those criteria are still relevant and still appropriate across all sectors. So the process is you write your application against those selection criteria, and then we have a really broad selection panel that assesses each application. So 3 panel members will assess every application, and then they're scored.
Wow. So over 450 applications this year, 2019.
Yep.
You've got,
We're all scored 3 times at least.
wow.
It's not a popularity contest. We still sometimes get emails, which is always really interesting. How do I vote for so and so? No.
Yes.
This is actually a really serious, awards application. It's a really, it's a process full of integrity, and that's on purpose. I wanted to really give this process value and merit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great way to build the credibility moving forward, and for it to stand for something by setting those expectations and standards. That's wonderful. I know as well the people you've got connected as part of the panel, the judging. You've got some high quality, high caliber people in the industry who are certainly helping out there, which just speaks volumes to the work that you are doing. I'm excited for the gala year 2. I'm interested to know as well, across those applications, I'm sure you've memorized all 450 as to maybe if there were, top 3 things that you've noticed from this year's nominations and applications.
Well, this is a tough question, Ben.
Yeah, I know. Let's explore. Maybe the top 3 things that you've noticed about the higher performing professionals or clinics out there. Maybe they have in common that if I was to look at evolving my profession, evolving my career or my clinic, some things I could keep in the back of my mind.
That's a really hard question. So thanks for that.
What I'm here to do.
Look, I can't answer that. The selection criteria are there for a reason. So sometimes, after finalists are announced, we get a few applicants contacting us that are very disappointed that they might not be named a finalist. And that does not mean that they are not doing amazing work. That does not mean that they don't deserve to be a finalist. That simply means that perhaps their application wasn't as well written and well rounded as other people in that category.
Yes.
And people that are applying don't get the amazing job, unfortunately, of reading all of the applicants' nominations,
of course,
and putting it in context. So I think sometimes it's hard for people to understand that, that expectation management, I think, is, the fact that you're nominated is incredible. And you're in amazing company. There's people across this country doing phenomenal things. And just because you haven't been a named finalist in that category this year doesn't mean that won't happen next year. It depends who else has nominated and what they've been doing that year. So I guess the applicants that have done really well this year they've just done huge things for their profession, but also for allied health as a community across Australia, and in some cases, very much so international.
Wow.
And that they're well-rounded, and they're looking to support the profession, the younger therapists coming through, whether that's in research or at uni or in a particular clinical area, that they're not just doing really great work with patients. They need to be really well-rounded and supporting allied health as a community.
Yeah, and even it was 5 criteria, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Even auditing those areas and going through that application process.
That's exactly right.
Going, okay, wow, we haven't really focused on that particular area that we're doing.
So we know, for example, we're really nailing our clinical KPIs. We know we're doing really great work with our patients, but actually it's not necessarily evidence-based. We think it is, but we don't. We're not sure on that, or we don't have outcome measures to prove that that's doing what we need it to do. Or we're doing really great things in our own little professional bubble, but actually we're not looking to an allied health network in our community. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I was fortunate enough to MC the event last year, and we'll do so
Thank you.
this year as well, which I'm very excited about. I mean, some of my jokes passed.
Some. I want new ones this year, though, all right?
Material. Oh, go away. So and even for myself, being there, being present, and hearing the incredible stories of the
Yes.
people that are there and the nominees as well, and you go far out. You know, this is again, this is year one, and the standard of applications coming through. I just can imagine as the years progress, the caliber of people that are going to come out from.
I know. My mind is blown. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm going to develop this. But we're hoping to hear more of the stories this year. And this year's gala will be bigger and better. There's a band. There's a lot more polished. It's going to be more people. It's going to be awesome.
I mean, if last year was the first run at it, I mean, that was super impressive. This year, I can just imagine is going to be awesome. I'm interested in those winners that won the award for their respective categories last year. Are there any particular stories that stand out, in the last 12 months of what they may have done since winning the award? And the exposure that's given them, or the catalyst it's been for them personally or professionally?
Well, I'm not sure if it's been, it's hard to know if it's been a catalyst or not, but it's, it's incredible free promotion for an allied health professional, and recognition. And so, I think that isn't to be undervalued. The OT of the year last year, Leanne Healy, I recently heard her speak at the National OT Australia conference, and caught up with her. So that, that was lovely to see. A lot of the winners from last year are on our panel again for this year, and certainly spreading the word and sharing nominations around this year, which is exciting. And many of them will be attending as well.
Great. I know our very own Ryan McAfee has been heavily involved. I think he won Exercise Physiologist of the Year, which is super. We also have the Upwell Health Collective, who also won a number of awards last year in the group. So it's great to see, and the evolution of the event itself. The gala is worth coming along to. I know a number of people I spoke to at the event were like, we didn't even apply, but we're here for the socializing, the networking, and an event to give back to our team. I was like, kudos to you. Well done. Welcome.
Yeah. It's a wonderful reward, I think, for team members that you're wanting to really celebrate a great year or amazing performance or what have you. But it's, I think, that's exactly what I want. I want it to be a celebration for allied health professionals to network and have a laugh and have fun. It doesn't, until now, it doesn't exist. So it's going to be more of a party this year. And that's certainly in response to feedback. A lot of people wanted more partying, more networking and more partying. So
a lot of happy feet in the group ready to hit the dance floor.
Yes, we will be providing that this year.
That's awesome. Well, I feel like we've covered a lot from, early days, where your inspiration came from and your evolution in your personal career, your professional career, as well as navigating those changes of being a mother and the catalyst of your creativity, unlocking your creativity to go into business and explore some incredible support services and build a great community that I just feel is snowballing. I can see the awards and all the work that you're doing snowballing. We're so thrilled to be supporting in a small way and partnering with you and Chris in the awards side of things.
Thank you.
Hats off to you. It's incredible to see, for sure. I know how much work goes into these things behind the scenes. So you're doing well to stay upright. You're well caffeinated.
Yes, I am well caffeinated, but that's besides the point. I'm really passionate about this, and it's not like we're making a lot of money out of this. I would do it for free. That's how strongly I feel about it, and I think that's what business is about, isn't it? Doing something that you really, really value and really feel strongly about.
It's great to see. So for those who are listening in, if you had some parting wisdom or a golden nugget that might help them personally or professionally moving forward from today, what would that be?
I think for me, it's really important to make every business decision based on my value set and my objectives for the businesses. And I do that every day. Does this match my vision for allied health support services? Actually, there's something I'm not feeling quite comfortable about. I might sit on that for a bit. Does this match what is, our brand and our understanding and our objectives for the awards? Yep, it's perfect fit. Great, let's go ahead. I think it's really important to maintain that integrity in your business, and it's really easy to let that slip away. But I think keep coming back to your vision and keep coming back to your values.
That is something that stands out for me as well about you and how you're going about it, is that you've got a very big vision and purpose, and it's allowing you to navigate. I'm sure there are challenges on a daily basis that you're faced with, but that you're putting it into perspective of your bigger vision. I think that is something that we can all continue to do better, especially when it's easy to get focused on the thing right in front of you, the spot, fire or challenge. So that perspective is amazing. One key takeaway for me as well is it takes a village. I think that's true in business and in life as well.
Very much so.
You need support networks, you need mentors, you need people to collaborate with to help you. You don't have to do it all yourself. So that is awesome. If people want to get in contact with you or they want to follow up with the awards, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Yeah. So alliedhealthsupportservices.com.au, and my contact details are certainly on there. I'm all over social media like a rash, so I'm sure you can find me there too. And the alliedhealthawards.com.au, and our email is hello@alliedhealthawards.com.au, and the tickets are on sale now. So we're running out of gala tickets, so hop on over and grab yours before they disappear.
Fantastic. Sarena, thank you so much for sharing some of your personal life with us and your business evolution, your professional evolution. It's been incredible. I think there's something here for everyone. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you at the gala this year.
Yes. Yep. It's going to be a cracking night. And the evening before is our networking event, a little bit more casual, some canapes and panel discussion, but that's, again, in response to feedback. So people want more networking. So hop over and grab a ticket for the networking event.
Awesome. Oh, thank you so much. That sounds incredible, just to make it an even greater, more well-rounded, and to use that experience during the weekend. I think that'd be amazing. Love it. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Grow Your Clinic podcast. Please head over to clinicmastery.com for all the show notes and all the relevant links and insights and information that we've discussed in today's episode. We'll see you on an episode very soon.
This is the Grow My Clinic podcast by Clinic Mastery, where we help you deliver amazing client experiences to grow your clinic.